Episode 5, The Stolen Land and the Tower. Welcome back to the unsealing. In our last episode, we broke down the true covenant of the earth. We revealed how the Feast of Weeks was established to renew the earth, and how the eternal laws regarding blood were handed down to Noah long before Moses was ever born. Today we are looking at the map of the world. We are going to expose the true geopolitical history of the Middle East. We are going to look at the division of the earth, the Tower of Babel, and the greatest real estate theft in human history. If you open the standard 66-book Bible to Genesis chapter 10, you will find what scholars call the Table of Nations. It is simply a long, dry list of names. It tells you who begot whom after the flood, and vaguely mentions that the earth was divided. Genesis makes it seem like humanity just organically wandered off and settled in different places. But when we open the book of Jubilees, the true legal protocols of the earth are unsealed. The earth was not randomly settled. It was strictly, legally surveyed and divided by divine lot. Jubilees chapters 8 and 9 give us the exact coordinates. Noah, standing with his sons Shem, Ham, and Japheth, pulls the geographic lots from his bosom. Jubilees 8 records that Shem drew the middle of the earth. His portion included the absolute center of the world, the Garden of Eden, Mount Sinai, and Mount Zion. The text specifically notes that these three holy places were created facing each other. Shem was given the blended perfect climate of the earth. Ham drew the hot regions of the south, stretching into Africa and the mountains of fire. Japheth drew the cold regions of the north and the great islands of the sea. But Noah didn't just hand out a map. He instituted a global, unbreakable treaty. Jubilees 9:14 reveals that Noah bound his sons by a terrifying oath, imprecating a curse on everyone that sought to seize the portion which had not fallen to him by his lot. All of the sons and grandsons said, "So be it," agreeing that anyone who stole land outside their borders would be judged with fire and sword. And this brings us to the most massive omission in the standard text of Genesis, the omission that completely changes how we view the Middle East today. In the standard Bible, generations later, the Most High tells Moses and Joshua to go into the land of Canaan, wipe out the Canaanites, and take the land. For centuries, critics of the Bible have used this to call the God of the Hebrews a bloodthirsty colonizer. They ask, why would God command the Hebrews to invade another nation's sovereign land and slaughter them? The Edomite translators left you defenseless against that question because they hid Jubilees chapter 10. Jubilees 10:28 reveals what actually happened after the earth was divided. Ham and his sons headed south to their allotted territory. And Canaan saw the land of Lebanon to the river of Egypt, that it was very good. And he went not into the land of his inheritance to the west, and he dwelt in the land of Lebanon. Canaan illegally seized the land of Palestine. He was a squatter. He broke the global treaty. The text tells us that his own father, Ham, and his brothers, Cush and Mizraim, begged him not to do it. They warned him, saying, "Thou hast settled in a land which is not thine, and which did not fall to us by lot. Do not do so, for if thou dost do so, thou and thy sons will fall in the land, and be accursed through sedition. Dwell not in the dwelling of Shem, for to Shem and to his sons did it come by their lot." They reminded him of the curse of Noah, but Canaan refused to listen. He illegally occupied the holy land of Shem, and Jubilees 10:34 explicitly states, "And for this reason that land is named Canaan." The Hebrews under Joshua were not violent colonizers stealing indigenous land. They were the legal descendants of Shem, executing the divine eviction notice on a squatter who had stolen their inheritance. The Canaanites knew they were on stolen land. Their own ancestors had warned them they would be exterminated for it. By hiding this single chapter, the Western system made the Most High look unjust, and made the Hebrews look like aggressors, instead of the rightful heirs taking back their stolen property. While Canaan was stealing the land, the rest of the world was plunging back into the dark arts. Jubilees 10 records the building of the Tower of Babel in the land of Shinar. They built it for 43 years, using asphalt from the sea to cement the bricks, trying to ascend into heaven. The Most High descended, confounded their language, and sent a mighty wind to violently overthrow the tower. But the corruption did not stop. Jubilees 11 details how humanity descended into total depravity. They began to build strong cities, enslave one another, and worship molten and graven images, and the demonic realm capitalized on this. Prince Mastema, Satan, sent swarms of ravens and birds to devour the seeds the humans were planting in the earth. Before the plows could even cover the seed, the ravens would eat it, starving the human race and reducing them to total destitution. It was into this dark, starving, demon-infested world that a boy named Abram was born. If you read the Standard Bible, Abram's story doesn't begin until Genesis chapter 12, when he is 75 years old, and God tells him to leave his country. The Western canon completely erases his youth. It makes it seem as though Abram was just an ordinary old man who randomly got chosen by God. Jubilees chapter 11 restores his missing biography, and it is breathtaking. Abram did not wait until he was 75 to fight the darkness. Jubilees tells us that as a child, he recognized the errors of the earth. At the age of 14, Abram officially separated himself from his father Terah so he wouldn't have to worship idols. And then, the teenage Abram went to war with Prince Mastema. When the men went out to sow their seeds in the field, a cloud of demonic ravens descended to devour the crops. Jubilees 11:19 says, Abram ran to meet them before they settled on the ground and cried to them, "Descend not, return to the place whence ye came." And they proceeded to turn back. A 14-year-old Hebrew boy stood in the fields of the Chaldees and verbally commanded the demonic realm to retreat, and they obeyed him. He turned back the clouds of ravens 70 times in one day, and his name became great in the land. But Abram didn't stop at spiritual warfare. He used his mind. To ensure the birds could never steal the harvest again, Abram invented agricultural technology. Jubilees 11:23 records that Abram taught the artificers in wood how to build a vessel that sat above the plow to drop the seeds directly into the earth, so they would be instantly hidden from the birds. He invented the seed drill. Why did the Edomite system remove the youth of Abraham from your Bible? Because they do not want you to know the pedigree of your own bloodline. They want you to think Abraham was just a passive old man who followed directions. They hid the fact that the father of the covenant was a teenage prodigy who defied his family's religion, defeated the starvation tactics of Satan, and possessed the intellectual brilliance to invent machinery that saved his nation. They hid the map so you wouldn't know your inheritance. They hid the theft of Canaan so you wouldn't know your legal right to the land. And they hid the youth of Abraham so you wouldn't know the sheer power and brilliance that runs in your DNA. The Edomite system relies on your ignorance, because a people who do not know their legal standing cannot fight for it. But the records are unsealed. The map is back in your hands, and the pedigree of Abraham is remembered.